council meeting for this evening. I now declare the second council meeting of the 22nd of October 2019 open at 6:33 p.m. I've already acknowledged the Wadjuk people. I'll just hand over to, oh no, I won't do that. The CEO's already moved through there. I'm going to run to item 2, which is attendances and apologies. I'll have to run through the whole meeting agenda again, but we will move through it very quickly. There are no apologies for tonight's meeting. The approved leave of absence was touched on earlier, and that was Councillor Kunza from the period 6th of November to the 14th of November 2019. At item 3, disclosures of interest, we've already established earlier in the evening that there are no disclosures of interest received. Question time for the public. I will ask again for the record whether there are any questions from any member of the public. If you'd like to step forward. If there are no questions from the public, I'll move on to item 5, which is the receiving of petitions, presentations and deputations. Petitions, there are none. Presentations, there are none. And deputations at item 5.3, there are none. I'll now hand over the meeting again to the CEO, who as our returning officer will guide us through tonight's order of business on casting a vote for the second time for the election of the City of Canning's Deputy Mayor. Mr CEO, over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I'll read out what I read earlier. I shall take the time to explain the procedure for the second vote in the election of Deputy Mayor for the City of Canning. In a previous special council meeting earlier this evening, the election for the position of Deputy Mayor resulted in a tied vote. In accordance with the Schedule 2.3 Clause 9 of Local Government Act, at this special council meeting we are casting votes for the second time for the position of Deputy Mayor. Nominations for the office of Deputy Mayor are to be received in writing on the form provided. The names of candidates for the position of Deputy Mayor shall be listed on the ballot paper in alphabetical order. Each candidate shall have the opportunity to address council in support of their nomination for a maximum of 3 minutes. Where there is more than one nomination, there will be a secret ballot conducted as if the elected members were electors voting at an election. The CEO will with support from the City's governance team, will count the ballot papers to determine the result. The result of the vote shall be disclosed. In the event of a further tied vote, the CEO will place the names of the tied candidates in a receptacle and draw out a name which shall be declared elected to the position of Deputy Mayor in accordance with Schedule 4.1 of the Local Government Act 1995 and Regulation 77A of the Local Government Elections Regulation 1997. I wish the candidates to confirm if they will lodge their application nomination. Councillor Jacobs, are you continuing?
I'm certainly continuing. Thank you, Mr. CEO.
Councillor Kunza?
Yes, Mr. CEO.
Councillor Panotharai? Yes. Could you state it into the microphone?
Yes, please, Mr. CEO. Thank you.
Are there any further? Councillor Holland, my apologies. Councillor Holland?
No.
No. Who else have I got now? That's it. Righto. I want to get it right. Are there any further nominations? Okay, councillors. At 6:37, I close the nominations for the position of Deputy Mayor. I confirm we have received nominations for the position of Deputy Mayor, which are to be listed on the ballot paper in the following order. Councillor Jacobs, Councillor Kunza, Councillor Panotharai. I invite the nominees to speak for 3 minutes in support of their nomination for Deputy Mayor. Councillor Jacobs.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Just a quick recap. What I'll offer is EED, effort, energy, dedication. I will give 150%. I will assist the Mayor to perform his duties. I'll provide balance between the wards from both sides of the river. I think this is very important. As a freelance interpreter, I can offer maximum flexibility in my job. So if I need to be there, I'll be there. Up until now, have been part of the Army Reserve. I'm going to give that away. I'm going inactive. I'm out. I will be at every meeting, every single meeting. If you vote for me for Deputy Mayor and I'm not at a meeting, you call me and say, get here, get your down here, I voted you for Deputy Mayor. And you know I will give it 110%. I've been here for 4 years. I've done the Diploma of Local Government. I offer robust representation. I stand up for the city without fear or favour. And that's what you want from a Deputy Mayor. And I know a lot of you can have good relationships with me. I can talk to you. I can be that go-between. And it's going to be very important in this next 4 years to have balance in the council. So, also, I came second in the votes with 2,766 votes. I came 600 votes short, but I think that doesn't really matter if you got one vote or 276 votes, but it does mean that I can offer very good representation and I have a very strong base in this side of the river. And I think that balance is very important. So look, I urge you to consider me. I thank you for your support if you can lend it. If you can't lend it, then that's okay too. But I'd urge you that if you voted for someone that's not on 3 votes, I need your vote. And we don't want to have a situation where it's drawn out of a hat. It happened at Gosnells, and the guy was a lame duck mayor for 4 years. So.
I'll just interrupt you there, Councillor Jacobs. I think we need to be really measured with the language we use. I don't think it's proper or fit to be disparaging of a former mayor of the city of Gosnells. These meetings are being recorded. I just ask you to withdraw that and continue with your address.
I'll withdraw that. I'll rephrase it. I think it would be very good if we had someone that got elected, because that gives them political capital. If you draw it out of a hat, what risks happening is they say, well, hang on, you got drawn out of a hat. So I can offer that representation. I've covered off all my points. I thank you for your support if you can, and you know that I'll give it 150%, 160%. I'll be there every day giving it the best I can. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Jacobs. Councillor Kunze.
Thank you, Mr. Curran. Look, I won't say too much. You've heard me speak at the last special council meeting, and I spent the last few months talking myself up, so people are probably sick of it. Look, I've laid out, I articulated why I think I would be a good deputy mayor and lead if the mayor was unavailable. I recognise that 4 people ran last time, and well done to the 3 others that put their names forward. But if you backed someone else before, I'd really appreciate your support. I would enjoy the opportunity to be the deputy mayor and work with you all. And so, like Councillor Jacobs said, it would be great not to have it pick out of a hat, but we'll see. And I'd really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I think I've already explained why I'm standing and what I'm representing. So I'll appreciate, most of us are here, all of us are elected by our communities. Democratically, we're elected and we're representing them. So we're all very professional and responsible enough to make a good decision. And I would like to reiterate that we are absolutely very minor representation on women, and we have, out of 94,000 population, 50% are women. So I think that is one of the most important point I would enforce on that. But beside that, assisting the mayor during his absence or even when he is in the office, and any number of matters, whether it could be businesses or even arts or social responsibilities or any other matters, I do have very good experience and skills, and I'm sure I have had fantastic contribution in the last 2 years, attended all the meetings and do briefings and actively taken interest in the best interests of City of Canning residents and ratepayers as well. And I'll work with the mayor and looking at Canning's clear vision, where we want to go and how we can become a trailblaze for the state government or anyone that people should say, oh, wow, that's City of Canning. So that's how I'll be helping and assisting the mayor and connecting all of us together. So on that note, I will ask your support to consider me in voting for Deputy Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Panutharai. We will now conduct the election of Deputy Mayor. Governance officers will provide a ballot paper for you to complete, which is to be placed in the ballot box. When all votes have been cast, they will be tallied and the result will be announced. Councillors and members of the gallery, the votes have been counted and I declare the election result. Councillor Jacobs, 4 votes. Councillor Kunza, 4 votes. Councillor Panutharai, 2 votes. We have a tied vote between Councillor Jacobs and Councillor Kunza, each with 4 votes. In accordance with 4.1 of the Local Government Act 1995 and Regulation 77A of the Local Government Elections Regulation 1997, I will now place the names of the tied candidates in a receptacle and draw out a name which shall be declared elected to the position of Deputy Mayor. I declare Councillor Jacobs as a successful candidate for the office of Deputy Mayor for the term 2019 to 2021. I now hand back to the Mayor for the remainder of business of this special council meeting.
I'd also like to congratulate Deputy Mayor Jessie Jacobs. Look forward to working with you, Jessie. There being no further business this evening, I declare the meeting finally closed at 6:52 p.m. and would like to thank everybody for their attendance, and for those guests that have been invited to stay back a little bit, I'll invite you through to the lounge in just a moment. Thanks so much, everybody. The meeting is now closed.